Duncan, Wooster. I bought the property in Louisville, Kentucky in 2012, and I've owned it since then. I lived there from 2012 until about 2017, and then my kids were, they're adults, and they moved in. They needed a place to get started, and so they've been living there, and since then. And then so I've lived there pretty much from 2012 to 16. The short year I was in Afghanistan, so except for that 1 year, I lived there for about 4 years, I guess, 5 years. To be honest, I really didn't want to sell it. I wanted to keep it for a long time. However, my wife and I moved to Northern California, which is where we live now, and the commute back and forth to there to fix it up or whatever it's just a long way. It takes a whole day to get from the West Coast to Kentucky, and it needed a lot of work, and my wife and I went through a lot of different scenarios. If we put the work into it, we could use it as a rental, we could keep it and use it ourselves and just pay the mortgage and just have a place there, and at the end of the day, with the amount of work that it needed, we just didn't have the time, and we just didn't want to put the money into it at that point. So throughout the years, probably throughout the last 3 or 4 years, we've had multiple phone calls on the house of people that wanted to buy it, such as yourselves. And like I said, the kids were living there, and they needed that place for at least until 2024 at least is when we needed to keep the place there. So once the kids were they on their own, and they found a house that they were going to buy and start their new house, that gave us the option to either sell it or go into our other ideas, and selling it just seemed to be the most clean option at this point. So we contacted, we got the flyers in the mail of a couple of your competitors, talked to them. I did my own research and found what the house would be worth, in the market if it was all fixed up, what that would cost us to do that, and then built a spreadsheet of the repairs, paying the mortgage and the utilities was just sitting there getting fixed up, realtor costs, capital gains, all of it. And it just made sense to contact, one of the companies like you. And Jairus was, in the line there, and I found out what that market was for the house with the different companies that do what you all do, and you guys came in on top. So it was pretty easy. Once I got your offer, I said, okay, that's where we need to be. And like I said, I knew what it would cost me already. So there was, I had my bare minimum, what I wanted to sell the house for. And I look at it as it's like baking a turkey, man. It's like you guys are going to bake the turkey, and we're all going to eat a little bit off of it, and everybody makes a little bit, and it worked out. So I was talking to three of, I don't know, I'm going to call it competitors, or people that were in your market, that do what you guys do. And Jairus just, we connected really well. And he worked the numbers to where it all worked out. And so when Jairus called, he said, hey, Jairus didn't call, somebody else called and got us introduced to Jairus. But when I got to the point where I was talking to Jairus, he just had he was a really great, we had a really great connection, and he walked me through everything. We asked the questions about what I thought the house needed. I gave him all of those, basically the most truthful background of what that house needed. It needed, siding. It needed, the thing that I knew it absolutely needed, and what it would cost me to do all of those things, and what it would cost a company like yours, where you have contractors, where it would go a little easier. Right. And then, the big fear for myself was, what if I get working into it and then there's something we didn't know, right? Like I found something in it that wasn't expected, where you all can, you all bake that into your numbers, and, you have experience with that. So, we came up with a deal. He came up with the money, and from there, it went. It just took a while. It was over the holidays, so that the process probably would have taken a month less, except it was over the holidays. Yeah. And so that took a little bit of time to get everything squared away there. In the beginning, when I was talking to Jairus, where he said it's going to go smooth and all these type of things. Until it was over, I didn't realize how smooth it was going to go. Yeah. I mean, I expected that, I guess my expectation was, okay, here's the offer. You're going to send your inspector over there. They're going to come up with something that's going to reduce the offer, even though I was as transparent as I could possibly be. And none of that happened. His inspector went over there. You all took your pictures. He said it was exactly how I described it. There was no bickering over money. It was like, here's where we're at. It's the same price, whatever. And then Jairus was, he transferred me over to Jeremy, which was kind of the next step in the process, which was the liaison between your company and then the bank and the attorneys. I would say, just, do your research, so you go in with a realistic expectation. I think that's the biggest thing. I went in, I believe, with a very realistic expectation. Okay, just because houses in my neighborhood were selling for, X amount, I understand that my house wasn't going to sell for that because it needed so much work. That expectation of what houses are selling for, that's after the work has been done. So if you understand what it's going to cost to do those projects to make your house worth what the comps are in your neighborhood, and you don't want to do that, then a company like Midwest Cash Offer, and do your research, find out what that is, so you don't feel like it's a lowball offer, because that's just what it costs, and everybody going with a realistic expectation that everybody needs a little meat on the bone. It is, if your house is, if you know what your house is worth and what it's going to cost to fix up, then it's a great deal for somebody that has a realistic expectation of the process. So, like I said, once Jeremy moved it over to the attorneys did a lot of the work, and it was basically just getting account information, and our house was a little different as in a trust, so I had to had some extra paperwork, but they took care of everything. I mean, they just said, this is what I need, boom, email it in. This is what I need, email it in. This is what I need, email it in. When they said they were on to close on a date, for us it was the 25th, I had no idea that they were ready to go. Like, the 25th was like the very last day. We could have done it a week ahead of time if we were more ready. I was surprised how fast and how smooth and how clean the whole process went. So if you're in that situation where you just, you need to get out of the house, or like we were on the other side of the country, I mean, what a great option. And, definitely consider Midwest Cash Offer, but, do your research, and they were excellent to work with. As smooth as it could possibly go. I was shocked at how smooth it was. I mean, I guess I said it over and over again, like, it, I think the biggest thing is have a realistic expectation going into it, right? Like, I think that's the biggest part. I think where people get upset is they think their house is worth X amount. There's that emotional component to it. It's a home, right? I had an emotional component to it. I didn't, but at the end of the day, it's just numbers, man. And once you get over that hurdle, Midwest Cash Offer made it as smooth as possible. I could not believe how smooth it went.